Nonetheless, Geno talked about Caitlin Clark again and sort of gave some backhanded compliments. Like he talked about how she connects to the audience, which was good. He talked about how she's tough, like Paige Beckers. He threw Paige in there as well.
Geno Auriemma, the famous UConn basketball coach, is upset after Caitlin Clark turned him down. This decision ended up costing him millions. He had once said Caitlin didn't have the skills for the WNBA, but now, as she leads Iowa to greatness, Geno is left regretting that he missed the chance to be part of something special. No trophy can fix the mistake he made.
She talks a lot of shit on the court, all right? Believe me. You know, when people talk about in the WNBA, why are these people beating up Caitlin Clark? Because she talks a lot of shit on the court.
Instead of admitting his mistake, Geno stuck to his views on a podcast, giving Caitlin Clark some weak praise while making petty comments about her. It's the kind of move driven by ego that shows even legends can mess up.
Going out of his way to, first he's like saying she connects to people, and he could have left it at that, I guess. But he almost goes on to put the, reverse some of that discourse, try to put it in others' laps because of Caitlin Clark's trash talk.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is succeeding and making history, all while Geno and UConn are left out. The real sting is that Geno didn't just lose a player. He also lost millions in revenue, reputation, and respect. What a shame.
This kid, she's fearless. She just plays. She just is like a little kid in a driveway playing with her friends. So, yeah, she's unique in that way. But in terms of what she's doing, people have short memory. Yeah, I've seen it before.
But Auriemma didn't stop there. He talked about what makes Caitlin Clark special in today's basketball world, her fearlessness. He pointed out that many players today hesitate, worrying about missing shots or making mistakes because of social media, criticism, and blame. This pressure has made athletes more cautious, afraid to take risks that could hurt their team or reputation. While Auriemma praised Clark's mindset and talent, he reminded everyone that people tend to forget quickly. With a knowing tone, he said he was about to call Clark the best player ever, acknowledging that he's seen greatness before, often from his own team's sidelines.
Here is the beginning of the conversation.
The women's game. So if I think sometimes people get confused over the last 18 months, maybe over 2 years, that they think it was a rocket, that you all jumped on Caitlin Clark's back and went straight up. But you've been there at the beginning of the ride, so to speak.
Geno also brought up Paige Bueckers in the conversation, saying that both Clark and Bueckers are tough. In other words, he was reminding everyone of his own star player while talking about the one who turned him down. Geno's biggest mistake was underestimating Clark's value. But Clark is different. She's fearless. Auriemma compared her to a kid shooting hoops in their driveway, playing just for the love of the game. She doesn't overthink or let the fear of failure hold her back. She just plays. Auriemma believes that kind of mindset is rare in today's basketball.
And then we send them up to the WNBA, and then they have something good to work with, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. So it still comes back to those of us that are in charge of the game. Are we making the game better every day? Are we making our players better every day?
To top it off, Geno downplayed Clark's impact on the growth of women's sports. While he acknowledged her influence, he made it sound like it was just part of a larger, inevitable change. He couldn't bring himself to admit that Clark's rise is a big reason why women's basketball is booming right now. When asked about Clark's amazing performances, Geno gave a mix of praise and realism. He admitted she's doing incredible things, but added that he's seen this kind of greatness before. He referenced his own coaching history, recalling a time when he led a team with 2 freshmen and 2 players who had never started a game before. That team didn't just compete, they won a national championship. It wasn't just one player leading the way, but the contributions and composure of those players were groundbreaking in their own way.
Geno Auriemma could be the reason why Caitlin Clark is definitely not joining the unrivaled 3-on-3 basketball league. We finna unpack it all right here.
Oh, Geno Auriemma, master coach, part-time businessman, and full-time expert at putting his foot in his mouth, has found out the hard way that Caitlin Clark wants nothing to do with his new 3-on-3 basketball league. And it looks like Geno has only himself to blame. This league was supposed to be a big deal, with huge investors, big plans, and a major January launch. Everyone was talking about it, mostly because fans wanted to see Caitlin Clark, the college star, play in it. But nope, Clark's not interested. She's skipping this whole thing, leaving Geno and the league scrambling to find big-name players.
Chill, man. But that is not the case. Many people want Caitlin Clark to join this league to possibly, play basketball, be more entertainment for her. But now many Caitlin Clark fans took to Twitter to actually poke fun at Geno Auriemma. Let's pull up some of the tweets.
So, why would Caitlin Clark turn down such a great opportunity? Let's look back at Geno's biggest PR blunder on the Dan Patrick Show. In his infinite wisdom, Geno called Clark's fans delusional for thinking she could dominate the WNBA. He went even further, saying she didn't have the physicality to succeed in the league. As if that wasn't enough, he took shots at her fans for hyping her up as the next Diana Taurasi. Brilliant strategy, Geno. Insult the biggest star in women's basketball and her loyal supporters.
She doesn't need to play for that whack job. She should just buy a rival league. Exactly. Kayla getting that type of bag. Sissy probably isn't this vindictive, but if it was me, if they wanted me outside, I'll demand a full retraction and apology from Geno for his comments on the Dan Patrick Show.
Twitter has been full of sarcasm and mockery since Caitlin Clark turned down Geno's league. One fan asked, why would she play for someone who thinks she can't handle contact? Another suggested she should just buy the league and rename it Unrivaled Genius.
Ouch.
It doesn't help that Geno isn't just a distant consultant. He's a part owner, and now his involvement is a big red flag. Clark's decision to stay away isn't just about protecting her body. It's a direct rebuke to Geno's comments. She doesn't need his league, and she doesn't want to deal with the backlash of associating with someone who downplayed her talent on a national stage. Meanwhile, the league is preparing for a big launch in January, but without Clark, it's looking like a flop. Geno probably thought he was untouchable, but now his words are coming back to haunt him with empty seats and a lack of excitement. For someone so proud of his long career, it's impressive how quickly he's damaged his own credibility with a few poorly timed comments. Remember when Geno went all out on the Dan Patrick Show, calling Clark's fans delusional and stupid for thinking she could dominate the WNBA? He even went so far as to say Clark didn't have the right build for the league. Sure, Geno, insulting the most marketable star in women's basketball was definitely a smart move.
Taylor has better things to do. Why does he want a player he doesn't think has the physicality?
To make things worse, Geno's own words are coming back to bite him. He said Paige Bueckers, another rising star, would face similar challenges in the WNBA, but suggested her game might be a better fit than Clark's. But let's be honest, this isn't about skills or physicality. It's about Geno making mistakes and then wondering why no one wants to work with him. Meanwhile, the Unrivaled League is set to launch in January, but without Caitlin Clark, it's looking pretty unimpressive. Sure, they've got some big names like Angel Reese, but let's not pretend one player can carry the whole league. Fans wanted Caitlin, investors wanted Caitlin, and now, without her, the league's future looks shaky, like a house of cards in a windstorm.
And you're a great college player, like Caitlin was, the delusional fan base that follows her disrespected the WNBA players by saying she's going to go in that league and tear it apart. There were actually odds on she's third or fourth in betting odds on being MVP at a WNBA.
Geno Auriemma isn't having a great time lately. Caitlin Clark, the golden star of college basketball, apparently turned down his vision, or maybe even his whole league, depending on who you ask. Geno's frustration isn't just about basketball. It's about the millions he could have made if Clark had lived up to all the hype around her. When Clark entered the WNBA, fans were already calling her the league's savior before she even played a game. Betting odds had her as a potential MVP. Geno, of course, saw this as a huge opportunity, a new face for the league, endless endorsements, and a big boost to his own brand. But reality had other plans.
How do you think Clark is handling this?
I think she's handling great. I think she talks a lot and she gets a lot back. So she deserves everything she gets because she gives it as good as she gets.
Now, Geno is venting about fans hyping Caitlin Clark up to impossible levels. He claims WNBA players are targeting her, not just on the court but emotionally, because they felt disrespected by hearing about her dominating from day one. And let's not forget his whole "not built for the WNBA" comment, where he said Clark wasn't quick or tough enough to handle the physicality of the league, basically implying she's making him look bad. Meanwhile, Geno watches the millions tied to Clark's rookie season slip away faster than defenders can double-team her. The branding, partnerships, and legacy building, all of it is slipping through his fingers. Instead of celebrating her as the next Diana Taurasi, Geno's stuck trying to explain why the hype isn't his fault, and then there's Paige Bucher.